This is Wild Nevadacast. I'm Dave Santina in the studio at PBS Reno in Reno, Nevada. And sitting across from me today, Frances Munoz from the May Arboretum Society, the executive director of the May Arboretum Society. And thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you giving us the time.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I got a little notification from some promotion professionals, marketing professionals, about the society, and also about an element of sort of in the news that I thought was interesting, and I thought this was a perfect time to talk about this kind of stuff. In the Wild Nevada show, we're all about getting out and exploring Nevada. We're always outside, a lot of outdoor time, and a lot of studies that were introduced to me show that spending time in nature is really important to help lower stress and help lower focus or improve focus. And I thought, that's interesting. In Reno, we have all this access to the outdoors, but not everybody uses it because, we're busy. We have jobs. We might not have time to get out that often. And meanwhile, here we have in town Rancho San Rafael Park, and within the park, the Arboretum, the Wilbur D. May Arboretum. And here you are, the executive director, coming in to talk a little bit about that for us. I think that's really valuable to remind people about places like this.
It is. And getting out in nature is extremely important. We're so busy and we all lead really fast lives. And unless you've really traveled outside the country, I've traveled all over the world. That is the one thing that I notice from when I visit other countries. They're not so fast paced. They're not in a hurry. They are not as stressed as we are. Right. Our schedules are 24/7 and we're always on our phone.
Right. Always. Right.
Yes,
and so if you're not going to think about getting out in nature if you are deep into your phone all the time.
This is true. I think that taking a break and getting out in nature can help you to reset, especially if you work. I'm out of the banking industry. So I work with numbers, work with clients, work with employees. Just taking, a 20-minute, 30-minute break in the middle of the day, going outside, sitting outside and eating your lunch, taking a walk on a trail, just makes a huge difference in how the rest of your day is going to go.
Yeah. Did you do that when you were working in the? You're now executive director of the society, and so you're not banking anymore, correct?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So when you did that, was that part of your routine? Did you take time to give yourself that 20 minutes?
I tried to, yes. On the days that I was able to do that, I've always felt better. Where you can fall into it is, it's my job. It's so important. I don't have time to do that.
Right.
And if I just get this done, I have to get this done right now. Otherwise, I'll be here all night. But in reality, my focus really wasn't 100% there because I was just a little more tired or a little bit more stressed. Had I gone out and taken that quick little walk or even just been outside in the sun for a few minutes, it really could have made a big difference in my performance.
Yeah, and that's true for a lot of people. I got to say, I spent a lot more time sitting at a desk than I did for the last few years when we were out shooting Wild Nevadas, and now I'm doing this podcast so that I can stay home, be closer to the family as my daughter is about to get through high school, and I wanted to be here for her last couple of summers.
Good.
So I find myself during a lot of days here just getting up and going out the back door and walking, around. We're physically located on the northwest corner of the University of Nevada, Reno campus. So I'll walk up the street and there's a the medical school's up there and there's a big roundabout, and I'll go out and at least go up and around and come back, give myself some time to breathe and look up and get some sun on my face and feel the day. And some days I really need it. And when I come back, I'm sure that I'm more focused and prepared to do some work than if I had just sat there and tried to grind it out while I'm thinking of other things and wishing I was not sitting there and feeling, stiff or sore or whatever, the things that happen as you sit at a chair all day long. So if I had a little more time, and maybe I would hop over.
Yeah, you're very close.
To the Rancho San Rafael Park area where the Arboretum is. Tell me about this place. Not everybody is aware that it even exists.
This is true. A lot of people realize it's there. They just don't realize that it's an arboretum, or they always say, what is an arboretum?
Right, and that's
So-
fair. That's fair. I think a lot of people don't know what the word means.
Usually when people ask me, I say, well, have you been to Dragon Lights? Most people have been to Dragon Lights. Well, if you've been to Dragon Lights, you've actually been inside the Arboretum. And there are subtle differences between an Arboretum and a park. So basically, you know, a park is meant for recreation. So you'll see open spaces, ball fields, and you'll see things, gymnasium stuff for kids to play on.
Right.
Where an Arboretum really is about botanical gardens with a focus on plant science research, education and conservation, and horticultural display. So, importance of being on here today, and one of the reasons that I'm happy to be here is when you go over and you take a walk and you enter the gates of the Arboretum, you know, you can just spend time just in the very first grove, which is Kleiner's Oak Grove, and it's just a grove of oak trees. And if you read the botanical markers, you can see where that tree is from. You can see whether or not it's from another country, where it grew at, all the information on it. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about being in an arboretum. Now, an arboretum is a museum of trees.
Okay.
Where we're lucky at is that we have an arboretum and a botanical garden. So we have the trees and the floral. And that's what makes it really special. We have 13 cultivated acres. It's just beautiful to walk around in there.
Yeah, and I've spent a little bit of time in there. I am one of those people who goes to the museum and reads the placards and the writing on the walls. And I'm the one who my family's frustrated by because they want to keep moving and I keep reading. So I'm the guy who's going to enjoy all that information as well as the beauty of the space. And that means that and of course, I'm sure there's enough in there that I'm probably not going to get through it all in a visit. So it invites return visits.
Exactly, yes. And I think that people should return, and they should return at different times of the year because everything changes its look. At the beginning of the year, we have a gentleman that does a tree walk, and it's when everything's starting to bloom. And then he does it again at the end of the year in October when it's going to sleep. And you can traditionally see the differences of what's happening in those two different periods of time. And then spending time in the garden, winter, spring, summer, and fall is really great. And another thing we have, which is really nice, is on the first Sunday of every month, we do a bird walk from 8 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, or 11 o'clock in the, oh my gosh,
that
at
would
night.
Be a
that
long
would be
day.
really a long day. About 8 to 11. And Lauren Whitenack from the Lahont and Audubon Society leads that. She's truly amazing. And every time you come, you will see different birds because they migrate in at different times. She's so knowledgeable. You just get your little binoculars out. She'll point to where it's at. You're taking days to find it and then go, oh, there it is. You know, it's just so relaxing.
There is a little thrill about seeing the bird that you're trying to find. I mean, I know this from minimal experience because on Wild Nevada episodes, sometimes we'd look for birds. There was one many years ago we did out near Yarrington, north of town. And I'm not sure I ever saw any of the birds we were looking for. The people with the cameras did, thank goodness, because they were able to show them. But I was not very good at finding them. But later, when we were down south, we went to the Desert National Wildlife Refuge just north of Vegas. And they had a beautiful new visitor center and walking path with suggested bird watching options, right? Because birds would flock around during the year. And I found that as we would find the bird, as we'd see the bird, I would be thrilled with that. It was exciting. And that was the first time I really understood that bird watching mentality about it. Why do people want to do this? And what is it that they love about it? And, in a place like the Arboretum, it's even better.
It's a great habitat for the birds that are migrating in. We do have birds that are there year round, but the ones that are migrating in, that's why it's kind of fun to do it every single month, because there might be a bird that you'll catch that's the only day in the entire year that it's going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Well, and those events, you talk about the tree walks and the bird in the garden series, right? That's the name?
Yeah, birds in the garden.
How often do those happen?
The tree walk happens twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. So we have one coming up in October. The Birds in the Garden walk is the first Sunday of every single month, and we have not canceled at all, even weather-wise. We've been out there when it was snowing. So we get out part of it and it's snowing really bad and get back to the parking lot and it's bright and sunny. But it's still great to see, what the birds are doing in the winter. What are they eating on in the winter and what kind of habitats do they have? And at other times of the year, I don't know if you've ever seen a hummingbird nest.
No.
It is like the size of a quarter.
Really?
It's so small. And so when Lauren showed it to us, I'm like, where? And, she pointed it out. It's just really a very tiny little thing, and a trained eye can see it, but you'll walk right by it.
Yeah, I would never.
And it was really interesting to see, the mother hummingbird come in. You don't realize how small a hummingbird is. And then you can imagine how small the eggs are and how small the babies are when it's a little bigger, probably a 50-cent piece.
I have a trumpet vine in my backyard, and I will occasionally get to sit and watch hummingbirds come and visit the little flowers, and it is fascinating, and it is stunning to me when you realize how little they are.
Yeah. And how do you feel after you did that?
Always better.
Always better.
I always enjoy it. That's my 20 minutes. I mean, I see the value. It's that period of time where I'll just sit and watch things happen. I'm in a lucky spot because I'm at the end of a development where my back fence looks over, well, it doesn't look over. It has a hill rising behind it, but it's a beginning of a trail. By dumb luck, happened to get a place that has a trail out behind it. So people are always out riding bikes or hiking or walking the dogs. And so there's an energy that you get from that, just observing it. And, it's pleasant. And then we also get hummingbirds. In the evening, we'll see bats flying around and picking off bugs. And it's just a relaxing sort of tableau that we get to enjoy and just sit in the backyard. And I probably have done more than 20 minutes because it's so enjoyable. But that really does calm and sort of center and relax me.
Once your focus is on it.
Boy, yeah, it really does. So if you're in a place like the Arboretum where you're surrounded by it and it's designed to help focus people and teach people while you're also experiencing a natural space, it's kind of the perfect environment.
Yeah. So the other things about the Arboretum, since there are different gardens, there's wetlands over there. You can see different types of birds or pollinators that will flock to the wetlands. There's the English tea garden. It attracts completely different types of pollinators, and of course the oak grove. If you just go and you have a half an hour, honestly, if you sit in the oak grove and you just sit there, it's so beautiful. When you walk down, it's completely shaded.
Ah, nice.
And it's shaded by trees. And so when you go and you sit, if you go over there, you should go over there and have lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, take a lunch with you and go over there and just sit there and eat your lunch. And you'll just feel so relaxed by the time you leave. And it's so important to our busy lives that we get out and we do that. And take our children on the weekend to do it too. The Arboretum on the weekend is completely different than it is during the week. It's amazing to see families out there, people lying on the grass just enjoying the sun, people taking photographs, quinceañeras. You'll see the most beautiful dresses you've ever seen.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's crazy what people do.
And like you said before, Dragon Lights is also pretty consistently held near there or in there.
It's in the Arboretum. Yeah, that's coming up. So that will start it actually opens the last Friday of September. Each year has a different theme, and children, they absolutely love to see the dragon lanterns, and parents and adults like it a lot too. But that's one of the things that actually takes place inside the Arboretum.
Okay. I enjoyed that last year, and I'm sure we'll go again this year because that's a thing you can go to every year. It's a way of, sort of reframing the space because it's beautiful on its own, but then it's also made differently beautiful with the addition of all these sculptures and lights. Yeah,
this is an interesting concept, and I think one that I would like people to understand. There's so many of those types of things that we could bring to the Arboretum as the Arboretum grows. Right now, the Arboretum is 13 cultivated acres, and what that means is 13 planted acres. It's actually a 22-acre Arboretum, goes all the way to McCarran Boulevard. And so we still have 10 acres left to plant. Our next garden going in is going to be a cactus and succulent garden. And most people say, why would you plant that in the desert? And it snows here. Why? Why would you do that? And it does grow here. So I would invite people that if you've never been to the Arboretum to come and take a walk across Evans Creek Bridge. You'll enjoy it very much. Go up to the Lear Garden area. And that's where our test garden is. And we have 4 mounds up there with different types of soil, which is what we do. We're doing research to see what's going to be the best soil. And you'll actually see these cactus plants growing there that we've planted. And it will show you that it can survive here.
That's really cool. So that brings up a point that I had not considered, which is the actual work of the society, what you do to not only maintain what you have, excuse me, but to prepare for the future. So how do you make, pardon me, how do you make those plans?
Well, the county has a master plan, and that they do it every 20 years. There's a problem with it, though, and that's always the dollar. They don't have any money, so we
Funny
can make
how that works.
You can make all the plans that you want, but if you don't have any money to go behind it, then the plan just sits on the shelf.
Sure.
And that's really where the Arboretum Society comes into the Arboretum as being extremely important. The Arboretum used to be run as a separate entity by an outside individual. Once it was taken over and turned over to Washoe County, who always owned it, the land, when you don't have funds to properly take care of it or to properly put new gardens and to create it to what it's supposed to be, that creates a problem. So what we do is we raise funds to help with that. And we have an endowment fund. And in 2018, we received a game-changing donation, $5 million.
Oh, wow.
Anonymously. And so
Incredible.
What that told me is that somebody really wants to see that completed.
Boy, they do, yeah.
And so we're working on that cactus and succulent garden, which will be the first garden in the past 20 years. There hasn't been anything that has taken place in 20 years.
Incredible.
If you don't have any funds and you don't really understand what you have and you don't have the right people in place to do it, then it's just going to sit there. So what we're doing is we ran our first gala this year. We earned a little under $50,000, which was quite a surprise to us. We were really happy with that. And that will continue to help us to grow our endowment. And we are hoping to continue to move the Arboretum forward, hoping to help Washoe County to build that out over the next 20 years and have it be the gem that Reno can be proud of. One interesting thing about arboretums is that, they're rated. We are rated amongst the world, others in the world. So we have we are a level 2 arboretum and soon to be a level 3 arboretum. We only need to get a curator, and then once the cactus and succulent garden goes in, we'll have plenty of plants on file. Huh. A level 3 arboretum, there's only 45 level 3 arboretums in the entire world.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so just think about that. We could be number 46 here in Reno. So
when I'm curious about this rating system. How often do arboretums get rated?
Annually. It's a registry run by the Morton Arboretum Registry. It's an arboretum that is located in Lisle, Illinois, and they work with around the world.
Sure.
And there are specific criteria that you have to meet. So you have to have education people on staff. You have to teach education. You have to have a certain number of plants in your collection. And you have to have a manager or a horticulturist. And as you approach each level, there's a little bit more involved. And of course, approaching each level costs more money.
Sure.
And a little harder to maintain.
Right.
And so that's who does it. And then what the criteria is. So when we know, for instance, that we have reached the threshold and we can now be classified as that level, then what we would do is contact them to let them know. And then they come out and then they do the research and they check all the boxes and make sure, and then they would at that point in time move you to the next level. And that is huge because where we're at right now, the level we're at right now, there's only 225 in the whole world. That's still, think about it, whole world.
Yeah.
Okay. That's still pretty amazing. But that jump from this level to the next level is huge. And what's interesting too is people come from all over they come from all over. People don't realize that we have over 100,000 visitors a year, and they're coming from all over the world. And when they get here, they want to see the Wilbur D. Arboretum and Botanic Garden. And people may not realize what a treasure they have here. It is a true treasure for this community, and we need to work really hard at building it out and making it what it is supposed to be. And if we do that, we can bring so many different displays, even beyond dragon lights. We can bring in a Lego display. We can bring in a flower display. There's a lot that we can do to even create more benefit for the community.
That's exciting. So plenty to look forward to.
Yeah.
With the Arboretum. So you took over as executive director a little over a year ago, correct?
Yes.
So but that's not your first encounter with this organization. You've been around for a while before that. What's your path through to where you become?
Well, interesting. I went to the show at the. It was a lavender show, and I didn't even know we had an arboretum here. And I had come back from working in Chicago area from the Morton Arboretum.
Oh, wow.
I was so excited to find out that we even had and I have lived here for 30 years.
Oh, funny.
Okay, and so that I said, oh, I'm joining right now, and so I became a director, and then I moved from that into president of the board. Did that for 3.5 years, and then it was time where we needed somebody to go out into the community and talk to the community and talk to businesses, and that was a little over a year ago, and that's why I took on the position of executive director so that I could meet the public.
Yeah, well, and you had your history, your work before in the banking industry probably connected you pretty well with the kinds of people you need to talk to.
Yes, yeah. It's amazing how many of those people still just don't really understand. It's really tough to make people understand what a great asset this is. You've got the museum there, but this arboretum is a huge asset for our community.
Yeah, it really is, and there are a lot of programs that you offer. You mentioned the two that we talked about already, but there are other programs, right? There's a pollinator star program?
So we started last year, was our first year. It's called Be a Pollinator Star. And what we do is we send our education coordinator out. It's geared around third grade classrooms. And it goes out, they go out once a month and they spend time with the third grade classes. And then they kind of do a little research in between, and they're learning about pollinators. So they also will do, they build greenhouses out of milk cart. The 1 gallon jugs.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll plant those at the school. But the whole thing is to help them to understand the importance of pollination, that 1 in 3 foods has to have a pollinator in order to even be in existence.
Incredible to think about.
Yeah, and starting them young is they remember it.
Right.
And so it culminates throughout January, February, March, and then in April they come to the Arboretum and they visit the Arboretum and see what they were learning about in person. Cool. And then in May we go back out to the school, and then they graduate as pollinator stars.
I love it.
And NV Energy helped us with the backpacks for the program. And so it's something that we definitely want to continue with. This much building that's happening around here, we're losing habitat for pollinators. And so the importance of understanding, you don't have to have green grass. Maybe plant a bunch of flowers so that you can have some bees and some birds around, and we can continue to support our pollinators.
It's a good idea. And bringing the kids in third grade is important.
They love it. When they come in, they build a bee hotel.
Oh, I love
and
that.
They're just like, what?
Well, and that's some of the studies that we referenced at the beginning of this conversation about the value of getting outside and our sort of disconnect from it over the last few years. When kids are engaged early, they are the ones who are most likely to carry it forward and enjoy it. Like you said, if they enjoy themselves, they're going to come back. And so if they're going outside and having a good experience, then they'll remember. They're likelier to carry it forward than those of us who are buried in our phones. So, get buried in nature, I guess, is the way to do it.
I love that.
There's a TikTok trend I was reading about called forest bathing.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Where people go out and they just surround themselves in nature and they record it and they capture sort of their their experiences and talk about the mental health benefits that they get from it. And it's trending TikTok, like this hashtag forest bathing. And I think that's really cool.
We're in the process of looking for a new person to lead that. We were doing that once a month as well.
Oh, really?
And a lady named Julian, unfortunately, she moved. But we would teach those forest bathing classes, and it culminated and ended with a tea on the grass. And it's so interesting. It's almost it's getting your senses in touch with nature, and like, did you hear the bird? You can see it, but did you hear it?
Yeah.
And you just have to really unwind to be able to do that. And we're not wired for that.
Not currently, no, but we could
But we need to, yeah.
We can get there.
Yeah, and let's not drag our kids into, they're going to be there anyway, but show them that the value of getting outside, that you can have just as much fun outside for a period of time. It'll make you feel better while you're on that tablet.
For sure. Yeah, right. Your focus will be better when you're playing your video game. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I want to ask if there's anything we didn't hit that we should talk about, because I want to make sure that you get to share with everybody about all the things that are going on at the Arboretum.
Well, the one thing I wanted to mention is, we have the endowment, and we raise money for that. But our bread and butter really is our memberships. That's what helps us to operate throughout the year. And so people can join as a member of the Arboretum for as little as $25, just depending on what level that you choose.
That's annual?
It's annually, and it's really. And think about it this way: let's just say you join. $35 for you to join as an individual member. This coming September, the night before Dragon Lights opens up to the public, we have a VIP night. Okay, if you buy a ticket for Dragon Lights, it's $35. No, $25, I think is what it is. Okay, well, you can get in for free that night. So now you've already got it back.
You've already paid it back.
Yeah. Another thing, too, is visiting different gardens throughout the United States. So we have what's called a reciprocal value program for our members. So if you want to go to, let's just say you're over in Phoenix and you want to go to the garden that's there.
Yeah.
The Desert Botanic Garden. You can get in for free because you're a member of the May Arboretum Society.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because that'll happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it, but you have no idea how much that $135 annual does to help us to operate throughout the year.
You have convinced me. I'm
Yay!
ready. I'm ready to join. That's cool. And do you have family memberships too?
We do. We have family memberships, couple memberships, benefactors, senior memberships, and student memberships. So you just pick whatever the level is that fits for you. And then a family membership is like $75. But it's still great because, it still helps us to operate. And the more members that we have, the more we can do. The Arboretum Society provides the biggest thing that we do is we should have 13 employees because we're 13 cultivated acres. The standard is one full-time equivalent employee per acre of garden, and that's to maintain a world-class standard that it's manicured and looked after. And Washoe County, and this is not it's just the reality of what it is. They provide 2.5. We give them another 3.5. We're still well short of what we need, and even though we draw down and use about $275,000 a year annually towards benefiting the garden, and none of that is given to Washoe County. We pay for employees, we pay for garden upgrades, and it's still so needed, and we still need support and people's understanding of you have no idea what you'll have if you help us to build that out.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing a great job selling it because first of all, people who maybe don't realize that there is an arboretum are introduced to that, but then to know that this is really it's good already, but it can be even better, mm-hmm. and it can be one of the world's best. And how exciting to have one of the world's best anything in your town.
Yeah, and it's just right in the middle of Reno.
That's so cool. All right, well, thank you so much. Oh, one last thought. Volunteers. Do you take volunteer help?
We do. So there's different ways that you can volunteer. We have different events, so you can volunteer for events. Washoe County is always looking for volunteers, and that is if you want to volunteer to work in the garden, like go in there and help plant and maintain.
Okay.
They're always looking for volunteers to do that. And, you can email me at info@mayarboretumsociety.org, and I can give people information or lead them into the right direction. So volunteering, we have a group of about 25 volunteers that have been there for over 20 years.
Wow.
They're the people who really do the maintaining of the Arboretum.
Well, that says a lot. When volunteers stay that long, they feel valuable and they are doing good work.
Yeah, we need some to come behind them, though.
Yeah, next generation. Step it up.
Yes, please.
Let's go. Bring it. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I learned a lot. This is really valuable. And so you can go have a little Wild Nevada experience in town. You don't have to go too far. So thank you for informing us all about the May Arboretum and the Society. It's a valuable work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, before we go, I want to ask everybody to watch Wild Nevada on PBS Reno. That's via broadcast or streaming at pbsreno.org and many other streaming sources. Also, watch segments or whole episodes on the PBS Reno YouTube channel. And I want to ask if you have a question about Wild Nevada or maybe a comment or a suggestion, send them to me at podcasts@pbsreno.org. I want to say thank you to Frances Munoz, and I thank you listening for joining us on Wild Nevadacast.